The Weaver's Son, and the Workshop of Dreams. In the quiet village of Kamyu, nestled within the Shizuoka prefecture, the air once carried a very specific melody. It was a song composed of two distinct rhythms, weaving together like the threads of a fine silk tapestry. The first was the steady, rhythmic, clackshish, of the wooden looms in the small cottages, where mothers and daughters turned raw thread into fabric. The second was the resonant, metallic ring of the blacksmith's hammer, a deep and grounding note that rose from the workshop of Gihei Honda. Young Soichiro lived within this harmony. In this era of transition, the old world of hand-carved wood was beginning to embrace the polished sheen of the machine age, but it did so with a gentle, patient grace. Imagine the workshop in the late afternoon. The sun, a soft orb of amber, hangs low over the Tenri River, casting long, peaceful shadows across the dirt floor. Inside the shop, the air smells of pine, charcoal, and the faint, earthy scent of cooling iron. There is no haste here. Gihei moves with a deliberate, practiced slowness, his hands moving over a bicycle frame with the same reverence a monk might show to a sacred scroll. To the young boy watching from the doorway, the workshop is not a place of labor, but a sanctuary of possibility. He sits on a smooth wooden bench, his feet dangling, watching the way the light catches the silver spokes of a wheel. In this quiet space, engineering is not about power or speed. It is about the perfect fit of a bolt into a nut, the silent glide of a well-oiled chain, and the way a simple machine can lighten the burden of a human life. The transition is felt in the textures. Soichiro reaches out to touch a pile of discarded gears. They are cool to the touch, heavy and reliable. He runs his thumb over the teeth of a sprocket, feeling the mathematical precision of the metal. It is a different kind of beauty than the soft silk his mother weaves, yet he sees the connection. Both require a steady hand. Both require a heart that finds peace in the process. As the evening mist begins to roll in from the surrounding hills, dampening the sounds of the village, the workshop glows with the warm, flickering light of a paper lantern. The fire in the forge has died down to a bed of glowing orange jewels, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. Gihei wipes his hands on a dark cloth and sits beside his son. They do not need to speak. The silence is filled with a shared understanding of how things work, the quiet logic of the physical world. In this workshop of dreams, the future is not a loud or jarring thing. It arrives softly, like the turning of a page. Soichiro watches his father adjust a brake lever, the metal clicking into place with a sound as delicate as a cricket's chirp. This is the birth of a philosophy, that a machine should be a companion, a gentle extension of the person using it. The village settles into a deep, rhythmic slumber. The looms have gone silent. The hammers are put away. The only sound remaining is the wind whispering through the bamboo groves and the steady, distant murmur of the river. Soichiro closes his eyes, the image of the spinning bicycle wheel lingering behind his eyelids like a silver halo. He feels the safety of the workshop, the warmth of the fading forge, and the immense, quiet potential of the tools resting on the shadows of the wall. Everything is in balance. The Weaver's Son breathes in the scent of cedar and oil, drifting into a dream where the world moves with the effortless, silent grace of a perfectly crafted gear, turning forever in the soft blue light of a peaceful Japanese night. The bicycle's quiet revolution the morning over Hamamatsu arrives with a soft, amber glow, filtering through the paper screens of quiet homes and catching the fine mist that rises from the Tenri River. In this season of transition, the air carries the scent of damp earth and the faint, toasted aroma of green tea. It is a time of steady, rhythmic rebuilding, a period where the world seems to move at the pace of a deep breath. On a small, wooden workshop, the light rests upon the silver surfaces of a row of bicycles. These are not merely machines. They are the graceful skeletons of a new way of moving. Soichiro Honda stands in the center of this space, his hands moving with a slow, practiced grace. There is no rush here. The clink of a wrench against a bolt is a solitary, musical note that echoes softly against the cedar beams. He looks at a small, surplus engine, a modest piece of metal that was once destined for a different, louder purpose. Now, in the quiet of this workshop, it is being Soichiro sees it as a sleeping heart. He picks up a soft cloth and begins to polish the cooling fins of the cylinder head, his movements steady and circular. The metal begins to gleam, reflecting the pale sky outside. This is the birth of the batabutter, named for the rhythmic, comforting sound it makes as it hums to life. It is the beginning of a gentle revolution, one where engineering serves the simple needs of the human spirit. Consider the fuel tank. In these early days, resources are gathered with care and ingenuity. Soichiro looks at a pile of metal hot water bottles, utempo, their ribbed oval shapes designed to warm a bed on a cold winter night. He realizes that these domestic objects, built to provide comfort, are the perfect vessels to hold the spirit of his new creation. He fits the warm, curved metal to the frame of the bicycle. It is a marriage of the mechanical and the home, a reminder that technology is at its best when it feels familiar and kind. As the sun climbs higher, the workshop remains a sanctuary of focus. There is the scent of light machine oil, a clean and sharp fragrance that mingles with the smell of the pine shavings on the floor. Every adjustment is made by feel. The tension of the drive belt is checked with a light press of the thumb, ensuring it is supple yet firm. The handlebars are aligned, so they rest naturally in the palms, inviting the rider to lean into the journey ahead. Outside, the first of these motorized bicycles moves down a narrow lane lined with blooming hydrangeas. The sound is not a roar, but a steady, hypnotic thrum. It is a sound that fits perfectly into the landscape, no more intrusive than the buzzing of a dragonfly over a pond. The rider does not struggle against the incline of the hill. Instead, they sit upright, feeling the gentle vibration of the engine beneath them, a pulse that mimics the steady beat of a resting heart. The wind brushes past their face, cool and scented with the salt of the nearby sea. The effort of the climb has been replaced by a quiet ease. This is the philosophy of gentle engineering, the idea that a machine should not dominate the environment, but rather lift the burden from the person using it, allowing them to notice the beauty of the world passing by. Back in the workshop, Soichiro sits for a moment on a low stool. He watches the dust motes dance in a shaft of afternoon light. He is not thinking of grand factories or global reach. He is thinking of the way a person's eyes light up when they realize they can travel further than they ever imagined, with no more effort than a steady breath. The tools are wiped clean and returned to their shadows. The bicycles stand in a neat row, their silver spokes catching the fading light, looking like the strings of a silent harp. The transition is complete. The world has found a new rhythm, a soft, mechanical heartbeat that promises a future of quiet motion and peaceful discovery. As the evening mist returns to the river, the workshop settles into a profound stillness, dreaming of the long, gentle roads yet to be traveled. Democratic mobility and the Super Cub. The sun sets in a slow, amber wash over the quiet workshops of Saitama, casting long, soft shadows across the polished concrete floors. Here, in the heart of a philosophy defined by harmony, the air smells faintly of clean lubricating oil and the steam from a freshly poured cup of green tea. There is no clatter here, only the rhythmic, metallic song of precision, the gentle click of a torque wrench, the hushed slide of a drawer, and the steady, distant hum of a world finding its stride. This is the birthplace of democratic mobility, a concept not of power or speed, but of kindness and accessibility. At the center of this stillness rests the Super Cub. It sits on its kickstand, a masterpiece of approachable geometry. Its silhouette is soft, defined by the iconic white leg shields that curve like the petals of a lily, designed to protect a rider's clothes from the dust of the road. There is an inherent politeness in its shape. It does not lean forward with aggression. It stands upright, patient and welcoming, waiting to carry a student to a library or a baker to his oven. This is engineering as a gesture of friendship, a machine designed to disappear beneath the needs of the human spirit. Consider the engine, small, four-stroke heart that beats with a quiet, unwavering regularity. Unlike the loud, smoky engines of the past, this one breathes deeply and exhales a soft, rhythmic purr. It is a mechanical lullaby. As the internal components move, bathed in a golden film of oil, they do so with a tolerance so fine that friction seems to dissolve into a whisper. To ride it is to experience the sensation of gliding. There is no heavy clutch to wrestle with, no complex sequence of demands. Instead, there is the centrifugal clutch, a gentle transition that allows the gears to mesh with the softness of a hand folding into another dot in the early morning mist of a coastal village. The Super Cub becomes a part of the landscape. The rider moves through the cool air, the wind pressing softly against their face as the small machine hums beneath them. It is a sound that does not interrupt the morning birdsong but harmonizes with it. The tires, narrow and sure, trace a path over damp pavement and gravel with a light, reassuring crunch. There is a profound peace in this level of reliability, It is the peace of knowing that the journey will be effortless, that the machine is a silent partner in the simple act of moving from one place to another. SOICHIRO. Honda's vision was never about the machine itself, but about the space the machine created for the person. He imagined a world where mobility was a right, not a luxury, a democratic freedom that belonged to everyone. He wanted a vehicle that could be operated with one hand while carrying a tray of noodles in the other, a design that respected the daily rhythms of a working life. This philosophy of gentle engineering meant that every bolt was tightened with the thought of a grandmother's ease or a young worker's pride. As the stars begin to emerge over the factory chimneys, the legacy of the Super Cub settles into the quiet of history. Millions upon millions of these small red and white companions have hummed across the bridges of Vietnam, the cobblestones of Rome, and the suburban avenues of Ohio. They move like a slow, steady pulse across the globe, a river of silver and steel that never rushes, never shouts. The workshop in Saitama is dark now, save for the soft glow of a security light reflecting off a chrome handlebar. The air is still, the tools are at rest. In this silence, one can almost feel the collective breath of a billion quiet journeys. It is the sound of a world made smaller and kinder through the simple, honest rotation of two wheels and a small, perfect engine. Sleep comes easily when the world is in motion, such as this, steady, reliable, and profoundly at peace. The road ahead is long, but it is smooth, and the hum of the horizon is calling you into a deep, effortless rest. The CVCC engine and blue skies for children. The air in the Waco Research Center in the early 1970s did not smell of exhaust or heavy industry. Instead, it carried the faint, clean scent of cedar pencils, green tea, and the cooling rain of the Saitama Prefecture. Inside the quiet halls, the engineers moved with a rhythmic, intentional grace. There was no rush, only a deep collective focus, a shared meditation on the future of the atmosphere. On the drafting tables, large sheets of vellum lay flat, held down by smooth brass weights. The sound of the room was a soft tapestry of sliding rulers and the gentle scratch of graphite. Here, the philosophy of Honda was being etched into reality. It was a philosophy rooted in the phrase *blue skies for children. This was not a marketing slogan, but a quiet vow taken by men who looked out of their windows at the horizon and wished for the blue to remain as vivid for the next generation as it was in their own memories of youth. At the center of this stillness was the CVCC engine, the compound vortex-controlled combustion. To the engineers, it was not merely a machine of iron and aluminum, but a vessel for air. They spoke of the engine's internal processes as if they were describing the delicate blooming of a flower or the steady breathing of a sleeper. Imagine the interior of that engine, not as a place of violent explosions, but as a chamber of light. The CVCC was designed to breathe differently than any engine before it. It utilized a small, auxiliary combustion chamber, a tiny sanctuary where a rich mixture of fuel was ignited first. This small, controlled flame would then reach out, like a soft hand, to light a much leaner, cleaner mixture in the main cylinder. It was a process of elegance and restraint. It allowed the car to run on a whisper of fuel, burning so completely and so cleanly that the air leaving the tailpipe was nearly as pure as the air entering the intake. As the sun began to dip toward the mountains, casting long amber shadows across the polished wooden floors of the laboratory, the engineers would often pause. They would look at the prototypes, the early Honda Civics resting silently on the shop floor. These cars were small, unpretentious, and friendly. Their curves were soft, designed to navigate narrow city streets with a quiet, humming humility. When a CVCC engine was started for a test, it did not roar. It settled into a low, rhythmic thrummer, sound like a distant brook or the purr of a contented cat. In the quiet of the evening, this sound was a lullaby of mechanical harmony. There were no heavy clouds of smoke, no sharp smells of unburned gasoline. There was only the steady, warm breath of a machine that had been taught to respect the sky. The philosophy of blue skies for children meant that the engineers spent hours refining the shape of a single valve, ensuring that the swirl of air, the vortex, moved with perfect fluidity. They sought to eliminate friction, not just in the metal, but in the relationship between humanity and the earth. They believed that technology should be a gentle companion to nature, a bridge that allowed us to move through the world without bruising it. As the stars began to appear over the darkened hills of Japan, the lights in the research center would dim one by one. The blueprints were rolled up with care, the pencils placed in their trays. The engineers would walk out into the cool night air, looking up at the vast, indigo expanse above them. They knew that somewhere, in a few years' time, a family would be driving a small car through a coastal forest or a mountain pass. Because of the quiet work done in this room, that family would be able to roll down their windows and breathe in the scent of pine and salt air. Undisturbed. The legacy of the CVCC was a gift of clarity. It was the realization that engineering could be an act of lover, quiet, rhythmic dedication to the simple beauty of a clear horizon. As you drift towards sleep, imagine that blue sky, vast and unchanging, stretching out over a world where every machine breathes as softly as you do now. The hum of the engine fades into the distance, leaving only the silence of the stars and the promise of a clean, bright morning. The Civic and the art of compact comfort as the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in layers of violet and soft amber. A modern Honda Civic rests in the quiet stillness of a suburban driveway. It is more than a machine. It is the culmination of a philosophy known as man maximum, machine minimum. This guiding principle, whispered through the halls of Honda's design studios for decades, finds its most peaceful expression in the modern era. Here, engineering is not an act of force, but an act of grace. Approaching the vehicle, you notice how the light slides effortlessly over its silhouette. The lines are fluid, like water smoothed by a river stone. There are no jagged edges, only purposeful curves designed to move through the air with a hushed efficiency. When you reach for the handle, the door opens with a weight that feels substantial yet welcoming. As it closes, the sound is a muffled, reassuring thud-seal against the outside world, inviting you into a sanctuary of deliberate calm. Inside, the cabin is a masterclass in ergonomic serenity. You settle into the seat, and it feels as though the fabric and foam have been sculpted specifically for your frame. There is no clutter here. The dashboard sits low, opening up a wide, panoramic view of the world ahead. This is the art of compact comfort, the realization that true luxury is not found in excess, but in the clarity of one's surroundings. Your fingers graze the steering wheel, wrapped in a material that feels as soft as well-worn leather. In front of you, the digital display glows with a steady, cool white light, easy on the eyes, reminiscent of a moonlit path. You reach out to adjust the air conditioning vents, hidden behind a beautiful, continuous honeycomb mesh that stretches across the dash. The metal toggle clicks with a rhythmic, tactile precision, a small, satisfying sound that speaks to the thousands of hours engineers spent perfecting the simple sensation of a single touch. As you press the start button, there is no jarring vibration. Instead, there is a distant, melodic hum, a polite awakening of the engine. It is a sewing machine smoothness, a steady pulse that suggests reliability and quiet strength. You shift the gear selector into place. The movement is fluid, like a silk ribbon being pulled through a ring dot. As the car begins to move, the world outside becomes a silent film. The modern Civic glides over the pavement, its suspension tuned to absorb the imperfections of the road until they are nothing more than gentle, rhythmic undulations. You feel as though you are floating just an inch above the asphalt. The sound of the tires against the road is a low-frequency white noise, a steady shee that lulls the mind into a state of focused relaxation. Through the glass, the street lamps flicker by in a slow, golden cadence. The engineering here is invisible, yet ever-present. It is in the way the steering responds to the lightest pressure of your thumb, effortless and intuitive. It is in the way the cabin remains hushed, even as the wind brushes past the pillars. Every mechanical element has been dampened, smoothed, and refined to ensure that the person inside feels only the ease of the journey. This is the gentle engineering of Honda. It does not demand your attention. It supports your spirit. It is the quiet confidence of a machine that knows its purpose is to provide a space for human thought and rest. As you navigate the winding turns of a quiet evening road, the car moves in harmony with your intentions, a seamless extension of your own body. The interior lights cast a soft, ambient glow around your feet, a gentle reminder of the safety and warmth that surrounds you. In this space, the stresses of the day dissolve into the rhythmic hum of the road. The Civic is a vessel of quietude, a testament to the idea that a car can be a place of deep, restorative peace. As the drive continues, the world slows down, the shadows lengthen, and the gentle engineering carries you forward into the stillness of the night. Accord, Harmonizing the driving experience. To understand the modern Honda Accord is to understand the Japanese concept of shizuka, a particular kind of quietude that does not merely signify the absence of noise, but the presence of harmony. In the modern era, the Accord has evolved into more than a vehicle. It has become a rolling sanctuary, a meticulously engineered space designed to lower the heart rate and steady the breath. Imagine standing beside the car just as the sun begins to dip below the horizon, casting a long amber glow across the pavement. The exterior lines of the modern Accord are fluid and intentional, resembling the way water smooths a river stone over centuries. There are no aggressive angles here, only sweeping arcs that allow the wind to slide past with a soft, rhythmic hiss. As you pull the handle, the door opens with a weighted, mechanical grace, and the cabin welcomes you with the scent of cool leather and the faint, clean aroma of filtered air. Settling into the driver's seat, you are greeted by the philosophy of man minimum. This is the core of Honda's gentle engineering. The dashboard is low and horizontal, opening up a vast panoramic view of the world outside. The pillars are thin, making the glass feel expansive, as if there is no barrier between you and the twilight sky. The ergonomics are not a puzzle to be solved, but a conversation already finished. Every button clicks with a soft, tactile resonance, and every dial turns with the dampened smoothness of a high-end timepiece. As you press the start button, there is no jarring roar of an engine. In the modern hybrid Accord, the transition into life is a silent shimmer of electricity. The digital displays glow with a soft, lunar white, casting a gentle luminescence over your hands. You shift into gear movement as light as a sign. The car begins to glide. The movement is liquid. Because of the sophisticated suspension tuning, the road beneath you seems to lose its imperfections. The tires hum a low, steady baritone against the asphalt, a sound that acts as a white noise machine for the soul. Inside, the world is hushed. Honda's engineers have lined the wheel wells and the floorboards with sound-absorbing materials that swallow the chaos of the outside world. Active noise cancellation technology works invisibly in the background, emitting silent frequencies that smooth out the rough edges of the wind. You drive through a winding coastal road, or perhaps a sleeping suburban lane. The steering is light and intuitive, requiring only the gentlest pressure of your fingertips. There is no struggle here, no friction. The car follows the curve of the earth with a rhythmic, swaying motion that mimics the tide. When the gasoline engine does join the electric motor, it does so with a seamless handoff, a distant murmur that feels like a heartbeat, reliable and calm. The interior lighting is subtle, tucked into the footwells and door handles like small, fallen stars. It illuminates the cabin just enough to feel grounded, but not so much as to distract from the deepening blue of the evening. The air conditioning breathes a soft, consistent temperature across the space, moving through honeycomb-patterned vents that hide the mechanical inner workings, leaving only the sensation of a cool breeze. In this era of the Accord, technology is not a loud spectacle, it is a quiet servant. The safety systems watch the road with the vigilance of a guardian, allowing your mind to drift into a state of relaxed focus. You are not fighting the machine, you are in accord with it. The car becomes an extension of your own intent. As you reach your destination and the car comes to a gentle, controlled halt, the silence returns in layers. You sit for a moment in the stillness, the seats supporting you perfectly. The cabin, a cocoon of engineering excellence. The modern Accord has fulfilled its purpose, to transport you not just through space, but into a state of peace. You step out into the cool night air, feeling more rested than when you began. The rhythmic harmony of the drive lingering like the final, fading note of a beautiful song. The ergonomics of the F-16 cockpit in the quiet, amberlit halls of Honda's research centers during the late 1980s. There existed a singular obsession, the pursuit of the perfect vantage point. The engineers were not looking at other cars for inspiration, but rather at the sky. They found themselves drawn to the F-16 Fighting Falcon, not for its speed or its role in the clouds, but for the profound, silent logic of its cockpit. This was the birth of a design philosophy that would eventually define the soul of the Honda NSXA, philosophy rooted in the harmony between the human form and the glass that surrounds it. Imagine, for a moment, the stillness of a design studio in the late evening. The air is cool, scented faintly with the smell of drafting vellum and graphite. On the wall, a large blueprint of the F-16 canopy is pinned. It is a single, unbroken arc of polycarbonate, In this space, there is no noise of engines, only the soft scratching of a pencil and the rhythmic hum of the ventilation. The engineers are studying the ergonomics of the pilot's seat, a place designed to turn a complex machine into a natural extension of the human body. The F-16 cockpit was a revolution in visibility. Unlike the heavy, framed enclosures of the past, its bubble canopy offered a panoramic 360-degree view of the world. In our narrative, we lean into the sensation of sitting within that glass sphere. You are cradled in a seat tilted back at a precise 30-degree angle. This tilt is not for aggression, but for balance. It allows the weight of the body to be distributed evenly, pressing the spine gently into the soft, supportive padding. Your legs are slightly elevated, the muscles in your thighs relaxing as the tension of the day melts away into the ergonomic contours of the chair. In this quiet cockpit, the hands do not reach. They simply land. The side stick controller is positioned exactly where the right hand naturally falls, a resting place for the palm. The buttons are smooth, cool to the touch, and spaced with a rhythmic logic that feels intuitive, like the keys of a well-loved piano. There is a profound sense of the Japanese concept of negative space. Everything you need is within a soft gesture's reach. Yet there is a vast, open breathing room all around you. The engineers at Honda sought to translate this ethereal sense of clarity to the road. They spent hours observing how the light moved through the F-16's canopy, noting how the absence of thick pillars allowed the horizon to flow inward. As you sit in the imagined driver's seat of their creation, the world feels expansive. The dashboard is low, a gentle horizontal plane that does not obstruct the view of the pavement ahead. The pillars are thin, almost invisible, mimicking the way the F-16 pilot sees the stars. The atmosphere is one of total transparency. You are cocooned in a sanctuary of glass and leather, where the boundary between the interior and the exterior begins to soften. Outside, the evening light is a bruised purple, fading into a deep, velvet indigo. The road ahead is a smooth ribbon of charcoal silk. Because the ergonomics are so perfect, the act of navigation becomes secondary to the act of being. You do not feel the weight of the machine. You only feel the steady, rhythmic pulse of travel. Every dial is backlit with a soft amber glower color, chosen because it is the easiest on the human eye during the transition into night. The needles move with a liquid grace, silent and sure. There is no clutter, no jarring shapes, only the curve of the glass and the breath of the climate control, which moves air through the cabin in a way that feels like a natural breeze through a forest glade. This is the gentle engineering of Honda, the realization that true luxury is not found in excess, but in the removal of friction. By studying the F-16, they learn that when a human is given a clear view and a comfortable rest, the mind becomes still. As the car glides forward, the silence of the cockpit envelops you. The world passes by in a slow, cinematic sweep. You are safe, you are seen, and you are perfectly at rest within the curve of the glass. The horizon is wide, the seat is supportive, and the night is very, very quiet. Man maximum, machine minimum, the quiet, silver-gray light of a modern design studio in Wako, Japan. The air is still and carries the faint, clean scent of sharpened pencils and cooling clay. Here, the legacy of Soichiro Honda is not kept in loud archives, but in the soft, rhythmic scratching of a stylus against a digital tablet and the mindful silence of engineers. This is the birthplace of a quiet revolution of philosophy known as man maximum, machine minimum. It is a gentle promise made by the engineer to the traveler that the machine shall shrink away, leaving only the human experience to flourish in the light. Imagine, if you will, the interior of a modern cabin, designed under this guiding star. As you settle into the seat, there is a soft, welcoming give to the fabric, a texture as refined as a well-worn linen path. The space around you feels vast, not because the vehicle is large, but because the mechanical world has been tucked away with surgical grace. The dashboard sits low, like a quiet horizon, opening up a panoramic view of the world outside. The glass is vast and clear, inviting the soft glow of the afternoon sun to pool on the floor mats. There is no clutter here. Every button and dial has been placed with the rhythmic precision of a heartbeat, exactly where the hand naturally falls. The philosophy of man maximum is an act of hospitality, a mechanical form of it is the realization that a car is not merely a tool of transport, but a sanctuary of thought. As you sit in the stillness, you notice how the pillars are thin, almost invisible, allowing the landscape to flow past you like a slow-moving river. The colors inside are muted and earth-toned cool grays, soft charcoals, and the pale warmth of ivory, creating a neutral canvas for the mind to rest upon. There is a profound sense of breathability, an airy lightness that makes the cabin feel like a garden pavilion, rather than a metal enclosure. Beneath the floor and behind the dash, the machine minimum principle works its silent magic. The engine, a marvel of modern efficiency, is compact and tucked low, humming with a vibration so faint it feels like a distant purr. The complex wires, the cooling vents, and the intricate gears are all condensed, hidden away to grant the passenger more room to stretch, to breathe, and to exist. It is engineering as an art of disappearance. The machine does not demand your attention. It serves you from the shadows, ensuring that your journey is defined by the conversation you hold, or the music that drifts softly from the speakers. Outside, a light rain begins to fall, the droplets dancing across the hood with a rhythmic, percussive grace. Inside the cabin, you are cocooned in a world of muted sounds. The pitter-patter of the rain is softened by layers of sound-dampening silk and foam, turning the storm into a lullaby. The wipers move with a slow, hypnotic sweep, clearing the veil of water to reveal the soft neon lights of a quiet city or the deep greens of a suburban lane. The car moves forward now, not with a jolt, but with a seamless, liquid transition. The steering is light, responding to the gentlest pressure of your fingertips. As you glide through the twilight, the man-maximum philosophy becomes a physical sensation, the feeling of being completely unburdened. The machine has become an extension of your own intent, a silent companion that carries you through the world without ever intruding upon your peace. In this modern era, the philosophy has reached its most refined state. It is a testament to the idea that true sophistication lies in simplicity. As the wheels turn slowly over the damp pavement, the world outside blurs into a soft tapestry of shadows and light. You are safe, you are comfortable, and you are centered. The machine is small, the human spirit is large, and the road ahead is a long, quiet ribbon of rest. Close your eyes now, and let the gentle hum of this thoughtful engineering carry you into a deep, dreamless sleep. The silent glide of the inside the world at the turn of the millennium was a quiet threshold, a soft transition between the analog memories of the past and the digital promises of the future. In this era of gentle progress, Honda birthed a machine that felt less like a vehicle and more like a whisper. The first-generation Insight did not arrive with a roar or a boast. It arrived like a silver pebble, smoothed by 1,000 years of river water, designed to glide through the air with the effortless grace of a bird on a thermal. Imagine yourself standing on a quiet coastal road, just as the sun begins to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of bruised plum and pale gold. The air is cool, carrying the faint briny scent of the tide. In the distance, a pair of headlights appears, soft and steady. There is no heavy vibration in the ground, no aggressive mechanical thrum. Instead, there is only a hushed melodic whir, the sound of the integrated motor assist system, working in perfect harmony. As the Insight draws closer, its form reveals the poetry of aerodynamics. Every curve of its lightweight aluminum body was sculpted not for speed, but for peace. The rear wheels are tucked neatly behind smooth skirts, allowing the wind to pass over them without a ripple. The roofline tapers gently toward the rear, mimicking the shape of a falling raindrop, the most efficient shape in nature. The car does not fight the atmosphere. It invites the air to slide past, a silent partner in a slow, rhythmic dance. You step inside the cabin, and the door closes with a muted, reassuring click. The interior is a sanctuary of minimalist intent. The seats are firm yet supportive, wrapped in fabrics that feel cool to the touch. Before you lies the digital dashboard, a soft glow of emerald green and deep sea blue. It does not demand your attention with flashing alerts. Instead, it breathes with you. The eco-indicator glows like a distant lighthouse, guiding you toward a more thoughtful way of moving through the world. As you begin to drive, the sensation is one of profound lightness. Because the frame is crafted from aluminum, the car feels as though it is barely touching the earth. You press the accelerator, and the small 3-cylinder engine wakes with a soft sewing machine hum, bolstered by the invisible hand of the electric motor. It is a duet of technologies, a marriage of old and new, working together to ensure that every drop of fuel is cherished and every joule of energy is respected. The road winds ahead, a ribbon of charcoal silk draped over the hills. There is no jarring shift of gears, only a continuous, linear flow of momentum. You realize that you are not just driving, you are participating in a philosophy of blue skies for our children. This was the quiet mantra of the engineers in Tochija, belief that technology should not dominate nature, but rather exist as a gentle steward of the environment. Coming to a halt at a quiet intersection, a remarkable thing happens. As the car reaches a standstill, the engine simply breathes out and falls silent. This is the auto stop feature, a moment of absolute stillness in a moving world. In the sudden quiet, you can hear the rustle of the wind in the beach grass and the distant, rhythmic pulse of the waves. The car waits patiently, its heart resting, consuming nothing, disturbing nothing. It is a mechanical meditation. When the light changes, the engine restarts with a nearly imperceptible shiver, and you glide away once more. The insight moves through the landscape like a ghost of the future, leaving behind nothing but the faint scent of clean air and the memory of a silver silhouette. It is a testament to the idea that true engineering genius does not need to be loud. It can be found in the absence of friction, in the reduction of weight, and in the silent, steady glide of a machine built to live in harmony with the world it traverses. As the stars begin to flicker in the darkening sky, you continue your journey, cradled in the soft, rhythmic hum of a dream made of aluminum and light. Asimo, and the grace of human motion in the quiet outskirts of Wako, Japan. The lights of the Honda Research Center glow with a soft, pale luminescence against the velvet blue of the evening. Inside, the air is still, carrying the faint, clean scent of polished linoleum and the subtle ozone of resting electronics. There is no urgency here, only the steady, rhythmic pulse of innovation. This is the birthplace of Asimo, a creature of silver and white, designed not for the cold efficiency of industry, but for the gentle grace of human companionship. To look upon Asimo is to see a mirror held up to our own quietest movements. The robot stands in the center of a wide, sun-drenched hall, its white casing gleaming softly under the recessed lights. It does not move with the jarring, mechanical snaps of the past. Instead, it exists in a state of fluid readiness. When it begins to walk, the sound is a rhythmic, comforting melody, a series of soft thrums and gentle whirs that mimic the steady heartbeat of a peaceful mind. The engineers at Honda approached the challenge of motion not as a problem of physics, but as a study in harmony. They watched how a human shifts their weight, how the ankle flexes to meet the earth, and how the center of gravity flows like water from one step to the next. In the lab, the floor is marked with soft, tactile pads. Asimo moves across them with a delicate precision, its senses perceiving the world as a tapestry of distances and textures. Each step is a mindful meditation. The foot lifts, the knee bends with a soft pneumatic sigh, and the weight rolls forward onto the ball of the foot. It is a slow, deliberate dance of balance. Imagine the silence of the research hall as the sun begins to set, casting long amber shadows across the floor. Asimo stands at rest, its small, backpack-like power unit humming at a frequency so low it is felt rather than heard, a deep, resonant vibration that settles in the chest like a purr. Its hands, masterpieces of intricate engineering, rests at its sides. Each finger is capable of the softest touch, designed to hold a paper cup without crinkling it, or to take a human hand with the lightest of pressures. There is a profound kindness in this design, a philosophy that technology should not overwhelm the world, but slide into it as seamlessly as a hand into a glove. The philosophy of Honda, the joy of expanding a human's life, is distilled into these quiet moments of motion. As Asimo walks, it is not merely moving from one point to another. It is demonstrating the possibility of a world where machines provide a gentle scaffolding for human frailty. The technology developed here flows outward, into soft robotic braces that help the elderly walk with confidence, and into sensors that watch over drivers like a silent, guardian breath. In the deepening twilight, the robot performs a final, slow gesture. It raises a hand in a waver movement so smooth it looks like silk caught in a breeze. The joints rotate with a hushed, liquid sound, a testament to decades of patient refinement. There is no friction here, no resistance. Everything is calibrated for ease. The lights in the hall begin to dim, one by one, leaving only the soft blue glow of the standby indicators. The world outside is hushed, the trees of Wako swaying slightly in the night air. Inside, the machines remain in their peaceful vigil. The engineering is complete, the balance is held, and the grace of human motion is preserved in the stillness. As you drift towards sleep, imagine that rhythmic thrum-thrum of the walking robot, a steady, mechanical lullaby that speaks of a future built on gentleness, care, and the quiet beauty of a single, perfect step. The lab is silent. The dream is steady. All is in balance. The living room aesthetic of the Honda E. The world outside is a tapestry of soft grays and muted ambers as twilight settles over the city. In this quiet hour, the Honda E rests at the curb, its silhouette a study in gentle geometry. It does not mimic the aggressive, predatory lines of modern machinery. Instead, it draws from a heritage of simplicity, appearing like a smooth riverstone polished by decades of calm water. Its circular headlights glow with a soft, milky luminescence, reminiscent of friendly eyes waking from a peaceful dream. To look upon it is to feel a sense of approachability, an invitation to step away from the frantic pulse of the day and into a space designed specifically for the soul to rest. As you reach for the handle, which glides out to meet your hand with a silent, mechanical grace, the transition begins. Stepping inside the Honda E is not like entering a vehicle. It is like stepping into a small, perfectly curated sanctuary. The air inside feels still and temperate. There is no scent of cold plastic or harsh chemicals. Instead, there is the faint, clean aroma of high-quality textiles and the suggestion of a quiet library. Your eyes settle first on the dashboard. A wide, horizontal expanse of open-pore wood finish. It feels warm to the touch, possessing the matte texture of a well-loved coffee table in a sun-drenched living room. This is the heart of Honda's man maximum, machine minimum philosophy, a realization that technology should not dominate the human experience, but rather provide a soft backdrop for it. The wood grain runs continuously from one side to the other, a steady, rhythmic pattern that anchors the cabin in nature. Beneath the wood, the seats are upholstered in a thick, grey melange fabric. It is the texture of a favorite wool sweater or a heavy linen sofa. As you sit, the seat does not pinch or bolster you for high-speed maneuvers. It simply holds you, distributing your weight with a gentle, supportive embrace. The seatbelts are a soft brown, a subtle, earthy tone that complements the grey fabric, creating a palette of neutrals that allows the mind to decompress. Across the dashboard stretch 5 integrated screens, yet they do not glare. Their brightness is tuned to a soft, amber warmth. On the central displays, you might choose to engage the aquarium mode. Digitally rendered water ripples across the wood grain horizon, and colorful fish glide slowly from one screen to the next, their movements fluid and purposeless. The light from the screens casts a gentle glow onto your hands, like the flickering of a distant hearth. There are physical dials here to soft, tactile knurled knobs for the climate control that turn with a satisfying, rhythmic click, a sound as grounding as the ticking of a grandfather clock in a silent house. The cabin is bathed in the natural light from the sky roof above, though, as night falls, the interior illumination takes over. Small, directional, LED spot lamps glow with the softness of candlelight, highlighting the weave of the fabric and the curve of the steering wheel. There is a profound sense of the Japanese concept of negative space. Nothing is cluttered, everything has a place. The floor is flat and open, covered in a plush grey carpet that muffles all sound, creating an acoustic cocoon where even a whisper feels resonant. When the car begins to move, it does so without the shudder of an engine or the rasp of an exhaust. There is only a faint, melodic hum, a sound so low it feels more like a vibration felt in the chest than a noise heard in the ear. The Honda E glides over the pavement as if it were floating on a layer of oil. The suspension breathes with the road, rising and falling in a slow, rhythmic cadence that mimics the steady rise and fall of a sleeping chest. Through the side cameras, which replace traditional mirrors with soft-focused digital displays, the world passes by like a silent film. The rain begins to fall, a light mist that beads on the panoramic glass roof. You hear the rhythmic, muffled thump-thump of the wipers, a metronome for the quiet journey home. In this living room on wheels, the passage of time slows down. The modern world, with all its noise and light, remains on the other side of the glass, while you remain here, enveloped in wood, fabric, and silence, drifting peacefully through the heart of the blue hour. The hydrogen horizon, an eternal peace in the quiet corridors of Honda's research facilities, nestled among the rolling green hills of the Tochigi prefecture. The air carries a specific kind of stillness. Here, the frantic pace of the modern world dissolves into a pursuit of elemental harmony. This is the era of the hydrogen horizon, a time when the roar of the engine has been replaced by the soft, rhythmic sigh of a molecule in motion. To understand this philosophy is to understand a commitment to a world that breathes deeply and moves without friction. Imagine standing on a coastal road at dawn, where the silver mist of the Pacific meets the dark asphalt. A vehicle approaches, but it does not announce itself with the sharp vibration of pistons or the scent of burnt oil. Instead, it glides forward with a sound like silk being drawn across marble, a faint, melodic hum that seems to vibrate in tune with the earth itself. This is the fruit of Honda's gentle engineering, a machine that does not conquer the landscape, but flows through it. Inside the cabin of a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle, the atmosphere is one of profound sanctuary. The materials are soft to the touch, inspired by the textures of nature-recycled fabrics that feel like brushed stone, and surfaces that catch the light, like the surface of a still pond. There are no aggressive dials or flickering lights. The dashboard is a study in minimalism, glowing with a soft, pale blue light that mimics the clarity of deep water. As you sit back into the seat, the silence is so complete that you can hear the gentle beat of your own heart, a steady rhythm that aligns with the smooth, linear acceleration of the car. Underneath the floor, a quiet miracle is taking place. There is no fire here, no violent explosions of fuel. Instead, there is a graceful dance of chemistry. Hydrogen atoms pass through a delicate membrane, meeting oxygen in a silent embrace. This union creates electricity, a steady, golden flow of energy that powers the motor with effortless grace. And the only byproduct of this process, the only thing the car leaves behind, is a trail of pure, crystalline water. Droplets fall softly onto the road, clear as morning dew. Returning to the earth from which they were borrowed, the sensation of driving through this hydrogen horizon is akin to floating. There are no gears to shift, no mechanical interruptions to the momentum. The car moves as if it is being pulled by a gentle, invisible tide. As you navigate a winding forest path, the windows remain down, allowing the scent of pine and damp earth to fill the cabin. Because the car is silent, the sounds of the forest remain undisturbed. You can hear the rustle of leaves in the canopy, the distant call of a mountain bird, and the trickle of a nearby stream. The machine has become a silent observer, a guest in a natural world rather than an intruder. This is the eternal peace that the engineers envisioned, a state where human ingenuity no longer stands at odds with the environment. In this modern era, the philosophy of Soichiro Honda has evolved into a quiet stewardship. The engineering is gentle because it respects the silence of the morning and the purity of the air. It recognizes that true progress is not measured by speed or power, but by the ability to move through the world without leaving a scar. As the sun sets, casting long amber shadows across the landscape, the hydrogen vehicle continues its journey. The headlights, soft and wide, illuminate the path ahead with a light that feels natural, like moonlight reflecting off snow. There is a profound sense of security in this motion, a knowledge that the journey is sustainable, that the horizon is infinite, and that the path forward is as clear as the water dripping from the exhaust. In this space, between the quiet hum of the motor and the vast stillness of the night, there is only peace. The world is at rest, and the machine is part of that rest, gliding toward a future that is clean, quiet, and eternally calm.